Hi, I'm Catherine Diorio, and welcome to Check Please, the show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go check them out and see what they think. This week, marketing manager Erica Abnauer says the energy and excellent food sells itself at her favorite River North hotspot. But writer Aaron Adams says when you're taking notes on places to go, don't pass up his cozy space to wine and dine. But up first, sports executive Cam Buckner says that he's come up with a winner. He says for seafood that will always put a smile on your face, claw your way to Lincoln Avenue and stop in at Angry Crab.
I love the conversation to start off with. The food was great, right? The core of us is just having fun. Kind of leave your table manners at the door. You come in, you relax, you put on a bib and just have a good time. We specialize in Cajun seafood with an Asian fusion twist to it. We have a lot of Asian-inspired ingredients in our house boil that gives everything the flavor. My brothers and I make a great team because we're all good at something different. It absolutely feels amazing just to kind of sit back and then to absorb it all. It's something else.
So Cam, you say that everybody should shell out the bucks at Angry Crab.
Yeah.
Tell us why you chose it.
No doubt. I mean, it has no parallel in Chicago. So it is seafood that has kind of a New Orleans flair, but it has some elements of, like Vietnamese culture in it. And you have the crawfish or the crab and the shrimp in a plastic bag, along with you can get potatoes and corn and sausage. And so it's all boiled up, and the seasoning is thrown in there. And so it's just like a big bag of fun. It's a party.
A big bag of fun.
It's a big bag of party. That's what it is. My typical thing is I don't stand in line and I don't drive more than 20 minutes for food. But because of this place and because I love it so much, I've done that numerous times and I'll continue to do it.
I love the place, but it was a trip, and it was just because I had no idea what to expect. I'm not really used to eating in that style anyway. People were just in the rows, mowing down on this food, just people were there to eat. Yep. And we carefully chose, we had some nice recommendations, but all of a sudden this bag plops down on the table, and my face went blank, and luckily the date kind of leaned in and took control, and we ended up breaking crab legs, peeling shrimp, feeding each other a little bit. And I like to say it was an extremely greasy version of Lady and the Tramp. But the girls next to us were like no shame, just in it. It was like medieval times meets Louisiana.
There's nothing angry about it. This place is so great. I love it. I went with one girlfriend, and I almost wish we had about 5 other people with us. We ordered 2 1-pound bags we got clams and we got shrimp, and then we got calamari. So we had a ton of food. We had a ton left over. We got one of the spicier, because you can get your shrimp and then you can get it battered in garlic and a level of spicy that you may or may not be prepared for. And I don't think we were quite prepared for the one we got, but it was still so good.
Well, yeah, just to kind of touch on that, you can get 4 levels of spicy. I mean, there's obviously different seasonings, and then there's the Maniac,
right,
which is all 3 of the styles of seasoning together. Mark Wen is one of the owners. He's Vietnamese, but he's from California, and he said this is Cajun with a little bit of our Vietnamese, like our Asian background. They use 29 different spices in their spice mix, which is crazy. But then he also grew up in California, so it's kind of like, hey, this is what you'd get if you were just driving along the PCH and stopped at a crab shack. Yeah. So Cam, obviously we talked a lot about the kind of seafood boil, but there's other things on the menu you can get there if that's not really your thing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they have both like garlic and Cajun garlic French fries, which are really good. I'm not a French fry guy myself, but they're really good, right? And we got the chicken wings as well, like lemon pepper or lemon garlic chicken wings, which were really highly seasoned, but they were impeccable.
What's the rest of the crowd like there?
You know what? That was really interesting. It was all walks of life, all types of groups. There was groups of girls for a girls' night out, and a lovely family sat next to us. We got to talk to them for a little bit. I really like communal dining when I'm prepared for it. So
They do ask you if you're willing to sit with somebody else.
yeah,
So.
and we were just, at that point, we were just like, yeah, let's just get the whole experience. Let's eat and see what this is all about.
I think that's one of the cool things about the place is that you see some of everything. You know, I grew up on the far south side. I saw folks I grew up with, and I used to work in Lakeview, so I saw people I worked with, and they were just all kind of magnetizing and going to this place, and you see some of everything. It's a real melting pot.
I did notice it was pretty chaotic because after we got our appetizers, we did wait about an hour before people asked us if we wanted more food. Luckily, we were just having a good time engaging, so it didn't matter at all to us. But you know, I think it is pretty crazy. So I would note to people that if they go in during the busiest time, expect to just have fun on your own first.
See, we were forewarned that especially on a Friday night or I'm assuming any weekend, you're going to wait in line.
So what about the price? I mean, it's seafood. So what do you think about the price, Erica?
You know, I don't think I'm as well versed in market prices for seafood, so I didn't know what to expect. And obviously nothing is really listed on the menu. It's all marked MP. So because there were only two of us, I was like, it's a little on the pricier side for what I would have paid, but since it was so delicious, I would go again, and I would just bring more people to help me finish it.
And it's BYOB. Gewürztraminer would be really nice with the spicy food, or my favorite is ice cold beer with it.
There were people with beer, people with wine, and people with Jameson, right? I mean, the BYOB ran the gamut too. So I mean, it's part of the ambiance of the place, and I just think it's awesome.
Who would you bring? You went on an early date, but who would you bring next time?
I think I would do that again because you absolutely get to test their mettle. It's the ultimate in like poking the bear, cinema verite. You know, it forces people outside of their comfort zone, and yeah, you get ultimate revealing of their character. So yeah, are they willing to dig their hands into this plastic bag and get greasy? It is truly like an experience. It's a trip.
And different, unique for Chicago, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I would say so. Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Well, Kim, you chose Angry Crab. Sum it up for us.
The food is delicious, and it's unparalleled to any place in the city.
And Aaron?
A trip, crazy, fun experience, and a good place to find out a lot about the person you're with.
And Erica?
An awesome experience from start to finish, worth the trip if you're not anywhere near it. Would highly recommend going and going again.
You can crack into the crawfish and more at Angry Crab, 5665 North Lincoln Avenue, 773-784-6848. Open for dinner every day, alcohol is BYOB, reservations are not accepted, and the average tab per person is $28. Erica Abnauer loves trying Chicago restaurants where you can pair fantastic food with a little bit of a party. She says that if you're like her, find your way to Rockin' River North and stop in at Oak and Char.
Oak and Char. So the oak came about through the whole whiskey and wine. The char daughter always used to like to burn things.
I'm a bit of a pyro.
Yeah, and so we always wanted to do a restaurant and have just a lot of burnt wood.
I'd say our style of food is moderate West. We were sitting down, we're talking about what style of food we wanted to serve. We all just started naming off neighborhoods. You know, Pilsen for Mexican. I love going to Chinatown for Chinese, and so on and so forth. So the biggest thing was like, well, that's kind of what Chicago is. It's a city of neighborhoods, and everything's got strong ethnic influence, and kind of put that all into one style of cuisine.
We all have three places in life. We have a workplace, we have a home place, and we have an alternate. I would like to be that third place where you're served a terrific meal or a cocktail, and it's comfortable.
It's very rare that you get to like interact with your dad every day. We're both kind of the same person. Just he'll say wiser, and I'll say I'm more of a risk taker. But it's fun. It's something that a lot of people don't get to have, and I'm very thankful for it.
Thank you. It's been great.
So Erica, you say Oak and Char is a star.
It is. It's such a fun, boisterous environment. I usually go on weekends. Anytime I sit there and I'm with a group of friends, we literally order almost everything on the menu. It's smaller portions, but very shareable. So whenever I'm out with a particular group of girlfriends, we probably order about 8 different dishes and share everything. This place is perfect for it.
So what kind of food is it?
I would say it's like kind of a new American. Everything is extremely fresh, almost like a farm-to-table type of restaurant. It's a smaller menu. It's not overwhelming, but it's like they pick the best of everything and are ready to serve it to you.
What stood out the most to me was that like the service was attentive, and we felt like we were in good hands, because the waitress, she noticed there were 2 of us, and she's like, I would recommend you do this from this, 2 of these, and 1 of these. Be the right amount of food. Let's get it all in, and I'll take care of everything else as far as the pacing. And things were dropped off. I think it was the manager, and we got an asparagus appetizer, and he said, so when you eat this, you're going to want to make sure you get the right balance of the hollandaise and the squid ink, and when you get a gray, that's the right flavor profile. So it was interesting, because you could tell he really cared what happened after he dropped it off and walked away. And he would, after that, come back and goof off a little bit. I thought we'd been made, frankly, because they were so attentive. It's like, spike a glass and run! But that was one thing that stood out to me. Other thing being the decor was cool, all the charred wood, but the lighting, the pink things looked like upside-down baby bassinets to me.
See, I feel like they look like really fluffy dresses.
They actually did that to absorb some of the noise so that you could chat with each other over the table and not have it be too that, really kind of
It makes
loud,
sense.
boisterous noise in there. So Cam, what'd you think?
So Oak and Char is proof positive to me that a dining experience is way more than food.
Yep.
Because I wasn't extremely impressed with what I ordered, but
Okay.
I love the ambiance. I love the wood. I love the music. The people were having a good time, and it just was. And the service, like Erin said, was impeccable. I thought we had been made too. I was like, oh, she knows that what we're here for. It was a good experience. I just was a little bit underwhelmed by what I had on my plate.
Well, Erica, because you go there all the time, what are some of the standouts that you think people should?
The chicken wings are to die for. Whatever
will
they
say
Name
that.
alone, MSG
They're so,
chicken.
I mean,
I like the
MSG
chicken
chicken
wings.
wings.
I'll
They're
say
so
that.
good, but I mean, plenty for a group. Most recently, my boyfriend and I went there. We split those. We had the short ribs, and we split the burger among a few other things, because we just order everything. All of it was so good. I'm a huge burger fan. I would say this burger was on fleek. This burger is so good. Whatever they do to it, keep doing what you're doing, because I will eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We started with 2 of the smaller plates, one of which was the burrata, which was good. Served a little differently than I've had it before, but tasty. Beef tartare, I forgot that was raw.
That's not your
Not
thing.
your thing.
You can tell by the look on your face.
I think you're both making fun of me right now, and I don't like it. Then we got the fjord trout, which was delicious, but it was just kind of standard.
So I did have the MSG wings. I don't like the name, but the wings were on fleek, right?
On fleek.
And they're really good. So I guess it stands for what, maple sherry, and what is the G for?
And gochujang, it's like
Yeah, I
it's a
can't pronounce
Korean
that, but
sauce.
that-
It's the
right.
next sriracha, apparently.
The next sriracha. So it's like you get a
There's
little,
a hit.
you get some spice, you get some sweetness, and you get some crunch. I think they were just amazing. If I will go back and order that twice. I had the beef
get a lot.
tartare, which was subpar to me,
Okay.
and I do like beef tartare, unlike Erin. And the short ribs, which didn't get me. But I will say this, right? So I'm telling you guys that I was underwhelmed with the food, but when the great servers took our plates back, mine was empty each time. So I ate everything, but it.
You were uncomfortable. You said you didn't like the seating. It was a little.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
you're a big guy.
That's part of it. I'm a lot of man, and
You just wanted to say that.
I did. The high top, the high stool chairs that I was sitting in, just was really uncomfortable for me. So I think that may have maybe added to some of my discomfort.
Okay. So how much do you think service really impacts your dining experience? Because it sounds like all of you guys really enjoyed the service at this
I
restaurant.
think a lot, right?
It can be a make or break. I've been to places where I love the food, but the service was horrible, and you won't ever get that at Oak and Char. The wait staff is so knowledgeable. If you have any questions about their very healthy alcoholist, they will educate you and they will tell you what goes with what, and if you like X, Y, and Z, you might enjoy A, B, and C. So that's a make or break for me.
The drinks, since you mentioned that, were delicious. We went through about 4 or 5 on the list, you know, super crafty, and we saw the misting with vermouth, and I was like, ooh, it's fancy. But, you know, it was that hip, trendy River North feel I think a lot of people imagine when they think of places like that, and it delivered on that, like we talked about the service. We looked around, we saw couples of all ages, and all of them were pretty sleekly dressed. We actually played the game of trying to figure out what their scenario was. And
You kind of have to when you go there.
Yeah.
I've done that too. Did you guys have the donuts?
Yes.
Dessert?
Yes.
So good.
We did. And I don't eat sweets, but those were good.
we had the chocolate mousse with pistachio cookie thing,
Oh,
which
that's
was
good too.
Well, Erica, you chose Oak and Char. Sum it up for us.
If you want just great food, great prices, in a great area, this is the place to be.
Great. And Aaron?
I thought it was fantastic. The service was attentive, and we felt like we were in good hands.
And Cam?
Sexy, hip, and I'll try to go back.
You can try the short ribs and more at Oak and Char, 217 West Huron, 312-643-2427. Open for lunch and dinner every day. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $38. Adams likes to go to places where you can unwind a bit and conserve your energy. He says if you're like him, head west of the city to a quaint spot called Preservation Bread and Wine.
I think a guest coming into Preservation should expect an environment that is comfortable. We specialize in artisan cheese and charcuterie, and really just meals that are enhanced by the wine program, which is such a big part of what we do. I just love, having fun with a guest and having the opportunity to potentially, give somebody a glass of wine that they've never had before. And when you get that light bulb moment of a guest, like, wow, that food is better, the wine is better, they came together in a way, I just turned a corner. My respect for food and wine is now different. I think the town has a lot of character. It's definitely a Midwestern town. They're a part of us, we're a part of them. I know their kids, I know their families, and it's a really nice place to be.
So Aaron, you said that they put a lot of passion into Preservation Bread and Wine. Tell us why you chose it.
Absolutely. I think to start understanding the place, you have to understand the owner. He's a really interesting guy named Lawrence Colburn, highly trained sommelier. An artist, just a cool, big-hearted dude who loves people, and just came out to the suburbs and created this restaurant as a total expression of himself.
They make it as a Solera style, and it's just a wild, super cool wine, yeah.
So is it more of a wine bar or a restaurant?
It's kind of tough to say because it's definitely one of the most carefully curated wine lists you'll find in Chicagoland. And he has these pretty good relationships with distributors who offer him things that other people often don't get a look at. And But people go for a full dinner. I mean, that's the way to do it. And you order about, probably for a group of 4, 8 different things, and you taste a bunch of different savory things you've never even tried before. I would recommend it for both. You can do either.
Well, one of the girls that I went with, she and I are notorious for just ordering a ton of food. We love the food. However, we both live in the city, and it was a hike. I think it was probably almost a 3-hour round trip on the Metra. So it was a day. We had a great experience. The patio is absolutely adorable. The food was delicious. I don't feel like we learned as much about the menu as maybe we could have, but maybe we just didn't ask the right questions either. I mean, the food was good, and that's all I can say.
I'm surprised in that, I continue to go, and I've been in there, everybody knows me, but they still carefully go down the line and describe everything. So
Okay.
I think it might have been Erica. I'm totally kidding.
We didn't have that experience, so.
I first found out I had to go out there. I was a little bit PO'd because I am.
You're welcome, Cam.
Join the club.
I'm a city purist, but in other words, a city snob, right? And I don't leave the city limits to do anything if I don't have to. So when I got out there, I was a little, upset. But I walked in and everything just hit me at once, So the exposed brick walls, the music, the friendly wait staff, the art, and then when the food came, it was delicious, and so I really enjoyed it. So I ordered the lamb meatloaf warm sandwich and the French onion soup. So they both were amazing. I'm a huge lover of lamb, and so when I saw it on the menu, I got really excited. And it was perfectly complex but simple at the same time. The flavors and the texture, they were just all great.
And that's not an easy dish because that could be something that dries out very quickly.
Exactly,
So-
and they did a really good job on it.
Hands down, my favorite thing is the spinach artichoke bread pudding, which has got the Israeli spices of tar, and it's green, and it's got the artichoke and spinach in there with toasted feta on top, and it just is a reason to get up in the morning for me. So, I mean, I've been to plenty of restaurants where there's just maybe 5 or 6 different cheeses, but I like here that there are 5 cheese plates, and they're grouped into different regions. There's the Spanish cheese plate, the Spanish charcuterie, the European charcuterie. So plenty to choose from there. We usually order like 2 of each and just graze for a while to start. But there's a pot pie that it was like a kind of a Mexican-ish pot pie, where it's got this cheese crostini on top, or this cheese top with an avocado cilantro sauce in it. Just blows my mind.
My friend and I both got the lunch specials, which was a great deal. It was a delicious gourmet sandwich with a side of soup. I had the French onion soup as well. It was really on point. We also shared a crostini and one of the cheese plates. If I could have ordered all of the cheese plates, I absolutely would have. And then, of course, we saved room for dessert, which I don't think can be missed.
I was gonna say, this is a dessert crowd, so what do we think? I know everyone here got some.
Bread pudding,
Yeah, the bread pudding.
amazing.
I had the bread pudding as well, and it was, it was awesome. I have nothing else to say about it. It was just really, really good. I love bread pudding. My grandma used to make it, and this stuff was good.
So Kim, you're my city snob. Would you go back?
I would. It was a trek, and even with the metro, it took a little while, but it was relaxing. Everyone that was there, it seemed like they were having a good time. There were smiles on everybody's faces, and it kind of was a calming, cathartic type thing for me. It really was. It was good for once to be outside of the hustle and bustle of the city and be able to sit down and have a really good meal and have a good conversation with people.
I mean, Aaron, you live not too far from there. You live in St. Charles,
Correct.
right? And so you go to Geneva quite a bit.
So I call 3rd Street a Norman Rockwell picture come to life, and it's just oozing with charm. It's just a great place to stroll around and relax. In my opinion, a true destination.
So I have a question then. If there's all these other restaurants around there, what makes this one stand out?
I keep coming back to Lawrence. He's a part of it. He's always at the front door, and if you ask anybody about the place, they'll say, Lawrence, I know Lawrence, I know Lawrence. As a result, there's this army of regulars who just are in love with it.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a chef, Jacques Pepin, who, a very famous chef, and he says the best restaurant is the one where everybody knows you. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that that's what kind of weighs into what ends up being one of your favorite places?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as human beings, we like to be around places that people know us and people like us, right? You've got home, you've got work, and then the third place that people talk about is your restaurant or your favorite bar. And you get there because you're comfortable and you want to talk to folks and you're just happy being there.
Well, Aaron, you chose Preservation Bread and Wine. Sum it up for us.
I call it artisanal, approachable, and that they're doing a lot of creative, fun, thoughtful things, but instead of being pretentious, you're as likely to get a hug as anything else.
And Erica?
Great food. Overall, a nice experience.
And Cam?
They try to be a lot of things and they're everything that they're trying to be, plus more, and I'll be back.
You can try the cheese plates and more at Preservation Bread and Wine, 513 South 3rd Street in Geneva, 630-208-1588. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $25. So on this week's show, we featured Angry Crab in West Rogers Park, Oak and Char in River North, and Preservation Bread and Wine in Geneva. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we landed on Lincoln and stopped in at Angry Crab. Cam recommends it for the seafood that reminds him of New Orleans. Aaron thought it was quite the experience and said the food was amazing. Erica absolutely loved the seafood and would definitely return. Next, we headed over to Huron and tried out Oak and Char. Erica recommends it for the shareable plates and trendy vibe. Aaron enjoyed the food, so the service was very attentive. Cam wasn't impressed with everything he ate, but enjoyed his overall experience. Lastly, we went out to the western suburbs and dropped in at Preservation Bread and Wine. Aaron recommends it for the impeccable food and the curated wine list. Erica thought the food was fine and overall had a nice time. Cam loved his food and enjoyed the relaxing experience. We had such a good time this week. I want to thank my guests, Cam Buckner, Erica Ebnar, and Aaron Adams. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite spots right here on Check Please. I'm Catherine Diorio, and I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.